Good afternoon. Okay, we'll start now because we have somebody waiting for the further session. So good afternoon. As a very short introduction to the Wakanda talk today, I would like to introduce you to a letter and a number that are the root of our visit in Berlin today, which are 4D. 4D is making since a very long time software, programming software in client-server and desktop environment with a consistent philosophy, which is developing simple, pragmatic, productive tools to develop and deploy business application. So 4D is a small, large software company. We are based in Paris, but represented all over the world, and we address small, medium-sized businesses. Of course, we have, since many years, many web tools integrated in our suite, but 1 year ago we started thinking that our knowledge, our way of work could bring an added value in the pure web development area. So we started a new laboratory project, which name is Wakanda. So Wakanda, I've loved to present you a new superhero, because we love all of us superhero. But and actually, Wakanda is an existing term in the Marvel universe. But I'm very sorry, it's a pure coincidence. And actually, Wakanda, we chose this name because in the Sioux language, it means inner magic. And it's a property, it's a qualification for beings, things, and that are having internal magic power. And we thought it was a good correspondent fitting with our goal and the way we consider the programming activity. So we started we built an R&D team led by Laurent Ribardière, who is the founder of 4D actually, and it's a dedicated team which has been working in the latest number of months on the project, is still continuing, and today it's the very first time we present the project as it is today. So we are very honored and excited about that, to get your feedback. So I will introduce you to Alexandre Morgaut, that will show you some cool feature about Wakanda. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Alexandre Morgaut. I was very excited when 4D contacted me to say we want to make a new web application maker. Okay, we want inner magic. Oh, nice, very good. And how can we do that? So I was very happy to see also that we share the impression that JavaScript is a powerful language. It's very good and very flexible, and it's starting being more and more powerful. The engines just show us that they're growing up, and they don't have to be jealous to other languages. So this is a short map of how we imagined web applications, development of web applications. What do we need? So we will present you the server side, how we worked on the server. We will present you also, the communication, how we wanted to enhance the communication level, and how it can be binded to existing Ajax frameworks, and how the way we see how this widget could be improved eventually, things like that. I will also be able to show you or give you a small picture of some web tools. We all need some web tools. Who never used Firebug or things like that? And I'm sorry, but the Wakanda studio, I will just expose what is being implemented inside, but I can show it to you. So, what did we imagine for the Wakanda studio? We think about when you are building an application, the first thing is conception. You have to make the conception of your business model. So how do you design it with different administration and conception tools? After, there is another layer which is improvement with the code, with things like that. And after, there is the deployment. So to optimize your application with caching, minifying, things like that. So another point, when you build for web application, you have a server. You need to administrate it. And it's not the same, well, it's not the same capacity we are asking to an administrator or to a developer or to a business model maker. So we wanted it to be very simple with the basic things anybody could require. You can go through the settings and fix advanced settings if you need, but you have directly a quick dashboard and administration tools. Then another thing we always hear about, it's about testing. We must test our application if we want it to, if we don't want to have performance issue or security issue, and if we don't want, or we all fear the bugs. So unit testing, we used about it for JavaScript for when developing functions. We say, okay, TDD, test-driven development, it's good. But sometimes we have some problems because we didn't detect it where it came from, or between server, client, communication. So we wanted to provide an easy way to make communication testing. So this tool allow you to create a test case on the HTTP layer. Once you build your test case, it generates a JavaScript code. You can just customize with what you require, what you want to get, what you intend to, what you expect to receive. And then you have a test suite. Debugging. So, the scary part. We find some debugging tool in web development. It's easier on server side. On client side, we have Firebug, okay, and between, it's not an easy way to see where the bug come from. This was, we made communication layer testing tools. So in the same spirit, we made debugging tools remotely. So you can ask and make a step-by-step execution on server side from the client, and the other side should be available too. We looked about existing protocols. We started to make our own protocol, but after we looked for others. It's working. It's not very, and it's very, very good looking, but it's working. So it will be implemented in the studio, and we want to implement it also in the Firebug console. Then, web services. Web services, most people think immediately to SOAP. It's good because now we start to hear about REST web services, which is, I think, very more powerful and more adapted for the HTTP. But sometimes it's easy to think just I call a function. So an easy way and a simple communication layer, it's JSONRPC. It's a bit like XMLRPC, but with a JSON lightweight. And the protocol is really simple, but how to make it simple for generate these functions and to use these functions. So we just want to say, I create a simple function with access to the database or to anything, and I want it to be used correctly by the client and easily to the client. So I can provide different kind of informations like JSDoc, and also I can give more complicated information with JSON schema, it works too. So this information will be used by the server to control the parameters it receives before executing the function. And on the client side, first we will say, okay, I want functions. Which ones? Where will I put my functions? We all know that it's not good to have it in the global area, so I can specify some namespace. This is just one way to say where I want functions and which functions I want. You can specify it in a JSON configuration file, and you can specify it directly in JavaScript. But we found that an easy way when you are developing to say, okay, I will just test it. And when you are in pre-production mode, also you can add and delete some things like that, and make some other configurations like, okay, debugging mode, yes, no. And this is fully HTML compliant. Then, we just said, I want it in the custom admin namespace, and which method I want. I can use it directly, it's working, no problem. I can use it synchronously, asynchronously, specifying handlers. I'm sure you know how it works. I don't have to learn it to you. And this is only for, well, the methods I ask it for. But what if, in a specific case, I want to use a method I didn't declare? You can just call some on-the-fly methods on your own server or on other servers. Squirrelfish. Yes, we had to choose a JavaScript engine, and we really believe this is one of the fastest, if not the fastest. We just looked to different possibilities. Rhino wasn't the more performant, so I think this is a good choice, and we will be able to go very far with that. CommonJS. Yes, if we want to use server-side JavaScript and to make it really pragmatic, we have to have a common interface with different engines and with different server-side implementations. So 4D is really following it very near, and we will make all we can do with the time we have, because we are a small team, to make it the more adapted, the more conformant, and to provide some our knowledge. So one of my specificities is the HTTP. So I made a big screen, a big spreadsheet comparing the different HTTP interfaces on the different implementation of server-side JavaScript. So I hope this will help to have the good way, the best way to handle HTTP requests. And something I very care about is HTTP has a lot of things to offer to us, and most of them are not really exploited. So I hope that with a good interface, we can be better things. So after one of the best capacities of the 4D company, it's the database. It's working with the database since a long time. It's an improved database. It's working in, I think, 1,000 applications. So it's, yes, 64-byte in Unicode, all you would attend from that. And what about it? This is a relational database. You can be used to make SQL requests, but if you are in JavaScript, JavaScript interpreter is on the same level than the SQL interpreter. This is a very important part. You don't have to generate, and we don't generate SQL queries. The JavaScript is interpreted directly on the database layer. So you can ask for tables, call the employee records, you can get it. But This just for administration. If you want to make the code for your application, you will ask for the entity level, entity model level. So I don't know if you are aware about entity models. It's a bit a business abstraction, so you can have direct access to automatically generated entity models on the existing tables. It's very handy to start. And you can extend it and make it more hierarchical and more business view, yeah, more usable. You don't have to care about relations, indexes, things like that. You are on the business layer. So how do we use it? The JavaScript has access to an object logic, excuse me. So you can call employees, but this is not the same. This one I call an employee entity model. So this is really, I have attributes, I am working on native objects. So as I said, we directly bind it to the database. We don't have to care about requests. We are directly working on the data. So this is just an example. So I can specify some filters. I can drop the item I received. I can ask, oh, get work location about this employee object. This employee has a company attribute. I don't have to make much work. I could have returned directly that. I don't have to make functions for that. But if you want. So I will have an address object with its attributes. It can be recursive. It's not a problem. One thing to understand, it's attributes are objects like you are used in JavaScript. So it can be strings, it can be integers, but it can be other entity models. It's quite the same for the engine. So the REST API, as we said, JavaScript interface is on the same level than the SQL one. It's the same thing for the HTTP level, but we didn't bind HTTP directly to the relational model. It was not, we didn't find it very interesting. So a good point about the entity model, it makes it very easy to consider your data as resources as we need it for REST service. So you can get it, you can delete it. We are working on resources and it's hierarchical. Sorry for, I have difficulties to say this word, hierarchical. So you could have done it on employee name and go on. So I will try it. I will try to show it a bit in live. So this is a JSON view of what returns the server. So if I go on my browser, I just will refresh it to have it live. Okay, this is a catalog. So I see all the available entity models. You can see some have a little dollar before. This is automatically generated entity models on the existing tables. The other ones are the extended entity models. You can just go through, I'm using JSONView extension for Firebug. You can use it, it's very good. I can check just the description of the entity model, which attributes it have, what kind of type I have. Some are more complicated than others. Well, I will take another example. Fight employee, yeah. You can specify some constraints because it's a business logic. And on the same way, you have the data UI. So I will go to describe an example. This is comps. It's some companies. I have an entity set of companies. I just deployed one. Or I could have deployed other, okay. And you have a location attribute, which is in reality deferred. It's binded to cities. entities is another entity model. I could have asked it to have it directly in the response. And I didn't done it for location, but I did it for staff. As you can see the URL, I said expand staff. Okay, expand staff. All the stuff is in my response. I don't have to generate another request. This is kind of what you need. Do you need to have very precise information, or do you need to have all-in-one request? When we are talking about optimization, we know that sometimes requests have a cost. So you just have to look what interface you are building and what information you will need. Do benchmark. Then another example. Okay, just to say, we provide this information in JSON, but some clients are will use it with very easily just in XML, but not very easily with JSON. So you can access the same informations, or you can access it, or you will be able to access it in an interactive HTML view. So this is an example. I will just make a refresh so you can see what's going on. Okay, refresh. So you see the client is asking for the catalog, which will describe the model of the entity I will work on. After is looking for the top 41, the 41st ones. So I see just 12, okay, but I can scroll. And what's going on? There is new requests that can be generated, and you can see I'm working on 1 million of entities. So this is easy to navigate. You don't have to say, okay, next. This is kind of administration view, because you didn't say, okay, I want that here, I want that here. No, this is a direct view, interactive view of your data. You should you should limit access for your administrator, okay? Then, if I want some information, I said, this is hierarchy. Sorry for that. Damn it. I said you can access to all the attributes, and this is recursive. So I just ask for the information. Okay, I will just have a little screen, so we will drop that. Okay, and so if I require for other information, it's loading the stuff corresponding, even if there is a lot of entities. The data provider is filtering. It say, okay, I will send you next pages if you need. You just have to ask me when you need it. So we wanted to give an abstraction about the technical specificities. The next. Okay, you don't have to care. You shouldn't have to care about that. You should have an exception layer. So we put it on the data provider, and the data source is taking advantage about that. The data source also have a context. So these two widgets, because this is widgets, yes, share the same data source. You don't have to say, I want to bind this widget to this other widget. No, they are binding to one data source which shares the same context. That's how the communication works. Then, so yes, you can do SQL requests if you want. We just say it's not a good idea, but if you have administration tools for an expert database on the relational layer, you can give him this access. Adapters, because we want our platform to be open. We want to interact with other projects, and we don't want to make works that could have been done better by other people. Okay, so we will try to provide our own widgets if we think that we didn't find it other way. So we have to communicate with a lot of people. So adapters must be easy to do. So we made sums for XJS, jQuery. We made some proof of concept for binding our data provider with a jQuery data grid with live scoring or things like that. And we're working on an adapter for the YUI 3.0, the last version. We're also in talk with Ruben from Ajax.org and from the Cooksdo guys. So they are interested in this project, so we hope that you could also be interested in it. And if you have some tools, some products that could communicate not only on the client side, but also with server side, we are very open for it. So this was, we tried to make a quick picture of a lot of functionalities, a lot of things we are working on. So I hope the principle was understood and you heard it. The specificities of Wakanda, it's the fact we choose a very powerful JavaScript server-side engine. We wanted, I talked about Reno before. We wanted to focus the development on the business layer. This is very important. I saw other projects working on this focus too. And one of the important things is no SQL generation. You shouldn't have to go through SQL to get the data. No. This is a way. It can be a good way for some administration things. But for the business view, you should be able to access on a business layer directly with the JavaScript interface. And the same for on the HTTP level. So what do you have to say more? I think we are on the end, and we will have to ask your feedbacks. So an important thing, it's still a project, and there will be a developer preview available at the beginning of next year. So just go and check if you are interested. We are also on Twitter. And I hope this was interesting. Have you some questions? Yes?
How do you deal with currency in server-side hubs?
How do we?
Currency, multiple requests. Like, how do you handle those?
Concurrency?
Multiple requests to the server side?
Well, our president, which is a very good developer, and he made the database, so it was very easy to bind the JavaScript engine on the database. So, and he's the one who made also the entity model layer. I don't know if I understood well the question.
It's handling different access simultaneously.
Yes, it's.
You can have direct. There is an internal looking in the engine that prevents to access, for example, the same record, the same entity at the same moment. So it's managed internally by the engine.
We really cared about this abstraction of the technical level. So normally on the JavaScript side, you don't have to care about it. Good question. Yes, this is a proprietary server. We have our own HTTP server, but we are looking for interaction with other servers too. So about other database servers, about other HTTP servers. But because this is really optimized, we should be able, yes, to communicate with others, but you won't have this optimization. So we will try to make it the best we can, but it will be difficult to have the same interaction because of the SQL or things like that.
So the database engine is also proprietary?
Yes. So I'm still here. If you want, I can make one-to-one demos or things like that and answer to other questions. You have Jean-Michel who can also answer to questions about marketing questions, about what you could think about. Thank you. Thank you.